All right, so then next we're in gaming and tech. This week's gaming and tech is kind of a mixed bag of delays and bombshell announcements. So we have Bungie delaying their next giant game indefinitely, technically speaking, but there's kind of layers to that one. We also have Konami and Nintendo dropping a whole bunch of information since we last spoke. We'll talk about those things. We have console-specific special stuff for Metal Gear Solid Delta. When that launches, it'll be different depending on which console you're playing on. Plus, Silent Hill getting a full-on remake. The original Silent Hill, not 3. We already got 2, not any of the other games. The very first game getting full-on remake. There's honestly a lot to go on here. I mean, digging into the new Xbox console and what that might look like, there's a lot to go on here. So we've got some gaming and tech to talk about. Let's get into it. Welcome once again, nerds, to the Clips channel. This is a smaller portion of a much larger video called The Week in Nerddom that happens over on the main channel. This portion is specifically the gaming and tech portion, where we're going to be talking about brand new things in the world of gaming and tech. So like new computer things. We don't really get too deep into that. I feel like the guys over at Linus and Gamers Nexus and such cover that fairly well. So we'll get the broad strokes there. We'll get in a little bit more deeply in the gaming side of things, so new announcements, DLCs, etc., etc. And then, you know, we're going to suggest some things for you to try out between now and next time you come back. So thank you for joining me. Let's get into the news. I'm going to cut in here real quick, nerds, and just remind you that we have a channel partner, DUBBY. See where we can get that in focus. DUBBY! Hi, DUBBY! Yeah! Channel partner DUBBY. Drinks like this, the jugs, there's like 30 servings in here. It comes out to roughly $1 per serving. So one serving is approximately 8 to 10 ounces. If you do like I do and you drink them in bigger things like this, then you usually are probably going to use 2 servings, but that's still $2. Whereas, you know, you spend $5 at the gas station to get an energy drink there. So there's that. But also when it comes in a powder like this, if you're starting your physical fitness journey like I kind of am these days, then you can mix the caffeine with the nootropics and the brain power stuff with your protein, and you can be getting a little bit of a really awesome pre-workout going there. So yeah, we're not going to do a long spot for them this week, but just know that they're there. You can go to dubby.gg and go check out all the things they have. They are the only energy drink maker that does a s'mores flavored energy drink. I just ordered mine, so it'll be here in a couple of days, and I will let you know just how delicious it is, but I expect it to be pretty delicious. So there's that. And then code at checkout is generally nerdy, all one word, and you get 10% off of everything in your cart. So not just the drinks, but like if you get a shaker bottle or you get the hydration drinks, because they have more than just energy drinks, they have hydration stuff as well, which is also dope. There's merch. They have a million different kinds of shaker bottles. It's good stuff. I appreciate the people over at DUBBY. They're super helpful. They're super awesome for partnering with the channel. Go check them out. Once again, dubby.gg, code generally nerdy for 10% off at checkout. Thank you very much, nerds. Let's get back to the show. Gaming and tech, we do have follow-ups. I don't think we have any corrections, but we totally have follow-ups this week in gaming and tech. So we're going to start things off real quick with the TikTok situation. We are now aware that a deal is in the process of being made. However, another stay of execution has been ordered, I guess, by the president. So that it's being bumped back 3 months. The report is that the reason they're bumping it back is so that they have the time to work out the details of the deal that is somewhere in the works. I was unable to find who exactly is going to be taking over responsibilities for TikTok, at least as the US is concerned, because that's the big issue, is US involvement and the information that they kind of harvest from there, or that China harvests from the app. So yeah, this is reportedly going to be the final extension. There will be no other extensions. If we can't work the deal out by the time this 3-month extension expires, then TikTok will be outlawed, etc., etc. I don't know if any of that is to be believed necessarily, but we will be keeping tabs and letting you know. From there, we have, this is kind of the biggest, I think, gaming piece we have in this whole, well, I don't know, we've got some really big gaming pieces, but Marathon is what we're talking about. Bungie has announced that they have indefinitely removed Marathon from their release schedule. Now, in a private briefing inside the company, inside of Sony, it has been made known that the new goal is actually March of 2026. So it's not 100% indefinite. It's not like, oh, they've just given up. Though it does sound like that is still on the table. They could still just back out of this game. In spite of the amount of money they put into it, I don't think that is actually going to happen because of the amount of money they have put into it. But by all accounts, especially, like, you can go watch the Mint Blitz video on this to get really deep dive into the details of what's going on. But it sounds like this is a large part of the issues going on here, aside from the plagiarism stuff that we covered in fair amount of detail previously. A large part of the other issues involved here is management not listening to the developer as to what they know their fans want. Bungie is pretty attuned to their fan base, and a lot of the issues they're having are just Sony mandating things from on high without any knowledge of the project or any knowledge of the target audience. As a matter of fact, they've changed the target audience. So if you are a arena shooter player, kind of like Halo, which put Bungie on the map, also to a different degree Destiny, which is their big thing that they're doing these days, then this is not really that. This is still an FPS, so like there is that comparison, but it is an extraction shooter, something slightly more akin to Escape from Tarkov, which is not like Halo or Destiny in the slightest. So really interesting there. As things progress here, we will be keeping tabs. But again, if you want a very great deep dive, Mint Blitz has done about 3 or 4 videos really getting into the weeds as to the plagiarism issue, the mandates from on high, etc., etc. I'll see what I can do to link them down below, because that's honestly where I get a lot of that stuff from. From there, we have the Donkey Kong Bananza Nintendo Direct that happened this morning as I'm filming this, so yesterday probably as you're watching this, but Donkey Kong Bananza happened, or I guess the Nintendo Direct for Donkey Kong Bananza happened, and it looks legit. It's short, it's only like 17 minutes long, so definitely go watch because it's fun. But like, there's issues, people are taking issue, this is the weird thing to me, people are taking issue with the timeline of Donkey Kong because I didn't put her name down in the notes, the companion that you have in this game, her name is the same as the name of the princess, as it were, from the OG, from like the 70s Donkey Kong, where you're Jumpman, not even Mario yet, he wasn't given a name, where you're Jumpman and you're trying to dodge the barrels and climb the ladders. That princess's name was the same, I can't remember, it was Shiny. Her name is the same as the sidekick that Donkey Kong has in this new Bananza game. And the people are like, well, there's a timeline issue here because technically that Donkey Kong was Cranky Kong and that was not Mario quite yet, though it did become Mario and blah, blah. Guys, it's a platformer designed for children. Well, I mean, at this point, there is certain design elements that are a little bit beyond children, but by and large, it is a Nintendo platformer game. The continuity is the least of Nintendo's worries. They're just looking to make something that's going to be fun to play and therefore sell a bunch of units. The rest of it is on you. If you want to take issue with a family game not having continuity for 50 years, I feel like you need to reevaluate your life. Maybe I'm just an asshole, whatever, let's move on. From there, Oh yeah, definitely go watch the Nintendo Direct about it because it's great fun. But from there, we also have, this is follow-up from last time, the Konami Press Play event happened. We're gonna try and burn through this pretty quick. It is fairly short as well, so you can go watch that. But we got Metal Gear Solid Delta. We got a little bit of information as to, yes, they were in fact kind of referencing multiplayer at the end of that first trailer that we got in the Summer Games Fest. Now we know very specifically that there is going to be console differences in the multiplayer. I don't even know if it was multiplayer. I do remember them saying something about multiplayer though, so my brain is just kind of scrambled. Either way, the game mode of Snake versus Monkey is returning. However, it's only returning on Steam and on PlayStation 5. On the Xbox side of things, it's going to be Snake versus Bomberman because the monkey is Monkey Island Monkey, and that is a Sony-owned property. Bomberman, I don't know who owns that property, but at the very least, Microsoft has the rights to put that in their version of this game. So it's gonna be very different playing one versus the other in that game mode. I mean, the story mode is going to be the exact same from console to console. Maybe there'll be different Easter eggs depending, because I'm sure there's gonna be an office building that I legitimately have played like 20 minutes of Metal Gear Solid 3. Snake Eater just was, I don't know, I got a little too into, what was it, Halo 3 at the time when Snake Eater came out, so I just didn't play a bunch of Snake Eater for whatever. I love the franchise. I've played just about every other game except for Snake Eater, so that's why I'm so stoked on Delta. But I'm sure there's going to be a spot where you're indoors and there's like a plush, and on the PlayStation version or the Steam version, that plush is going to be a monkey, and in the Xbox version, that plush is going to be Bomberman. So it's going to be little things like that are going to be different from story to story, but by and large, story mode's going to be the same. All right, so I said we're going to try and breeze through the Konami Press Play event, and I promise we will. That was just, you know, Metal Gear. We have to talk about Metal Gear. We also have to talk about Silent Hill, but that's at the end. So we got another video for Darwin's Paradox. Actually, no, this was not another. This is the first. I watched it in chunks, so I'm conflating some of these trailers with what we got from Summer Games Fest because I watched it in different pieces. Anyway, Darwin's Paradox is a platformer where you play as a squid. It looks pretty fun. It also looks like it's very shallow in gameplay, but that's neither here nor there. We got some sporting stuff. We got eFootball and eBaseball MLB Pro Spirit. Sure, why not? Suikoden Star Leap is a mobile game coming to Steam as well. It is a new Suikoden game in the same world as the other Suikodens. It takes place just before the story of Suikoden 1 and after the story of Suikoden 7, or 5 rather. So then we also got Gradius Origins, which is just a collect. It's jumping on the bandwagon, which is not a bad bandwagon to jump on, of the retro revivals where they collect all of their retro games into one game. Because you can't really call it a disc because most people at this point, more than half anyway, download all their games. They don't purchase discs, but whatever. Gradius Origins coming August 7th to Steam, Nintendo Switch 2, Xbox Series, and PlayStation 5. We got Deliver at All Costs, which is a new puzzler that looks to be really reliant on gimmicks. So I don't know how well that's going to do. We have Eden's Zero, based on the manga by Hiro Mashima. Be out July 15th on Steam, Xbox Series consoles, and the PlayStation 5. Survival Kids, a family-friendly multiplayer RPG. That looks legitimately like fun. If I, had kids, I would probably play it. The Silent Hill F. More stuff about how Silent Hill F is so incredibly Japanese. Like, I don't understand why they're driving this fact home so hard. Like, why everything they do in the media that has to do with Silent Hill F is like, this is the most Japanese game we've ever made. Okay, but is it good? Like, I don't care where the story takes place. I don't care that, like, I do care because I think it's cool that you're basing it on, like, Japanese, there's certain Japanese mythos in there, and like, yeah, that's awesome, sure, fine, but like, why is that the note that you guys keep hitting in all of this press? It does not make sense to me. We've gotten, by comparison, considering it comes out relatively soon, by comparison, we know very little about the actual game which I'm sure to a certain degree is by design, but like we know very little about the story or gameplay or insert thing that we want to know about this game here, because all they want to talk about is how Japanese it is. I'm starting to think this is a bad sign for gameplay. Like, I mean, maybe I'm just an asshole, but it just doesn't look like it's adding up very well. Staying though with Silent Hill, the next thing that they announced, and this is the last thing I believe that they announced from the press play event, looks like it, yes. Bloober is officially remaking, not re-releasing, not doing, they're remaking the original Silent Hill game, which makes a little bit of sense. So we got Silent Hill 2 first because in the whole scheme of the world of Silent Hill 2 is kind of a standalone story. I mean, there are other standalone stories that come later in the franchise as well, but of the first few games, Silent Hill is the only one that is technically Silent Hill 2 is the only one that is technically a standalone, that, you know, you don't need any points of reference necessarily from the other games. Silent Hill 1, the direct sequel to the first game, is the third game. So it makes sense that they gave us, and also Silent Hill 2 is kind of, there's a lot of other momentous things that happened there. It's what really blew it up in the eyes of the public. It's also the first game where Pyramid Head is involved. Pyramid Head is not in the OG Silent Hill. So it's interesting there. But also, this is technically the second time this game has been remade, remastered, whatever. The first time being the Wii U, or the Wii rather, not the Wii U. The Wii, Silent Hill Origins, I think is what they called that one. But because of the change in gameplay, and also they modified the story a little bit to update it for modern gamers or whatever at the time, and so it just plays very different. There's a lot of added things to it. It sounds like what Bloober is doing is just a one-to-one. We're updating the graphics. Hopefully they get the fog right, because that was a key element in gameplay for that game, and leave the rest of it alone. We don't want the extra stuff on top of it. We just want that OG Silent Hill. And it sounds like that's the direction they're going. So yes, please, and thank you. From there, we have one more follow-up. Oh, this one is a kind of a hybrid of both follow-up information and also new information. So yeah, that's why it's going here. But the whole Warner Brothers games situation, if you remember a few months ago, they were talking about moving forward and focusing, because they've lost so much money on trying to do things to appease people who don't actually play video games. Now they're refocusing on their big four. And the big four, as far as their IPs go over at WB Games, are as follows. We got Mortal Kombat, which by extension is really just NetherRealm Studios. We'll get into why that's a relevant point to make in just a moment. But Mortal Kombat, DC, Harry Potter, and Game of Thrones. So they're focusing heavily on those four properties. And in so doing, they're promoting people from within the company. So from within these other studios, they're promoting people into vice president roles. And we now know exactly how that's kind of shaking out. So Sean Himrick, who currently works, or used to work, I guess, he's currently now the VP of games over Mortal Kombat and DC, but he used to work over at NetherRealm Studios. He was, I don't remember what his title was. I didn't write it down, but I know a fair bit about NRS, and I just can't remember what his title was. He was one of the producers though at the company. So now he's vice president in charge of Mortal Kombat and DC, which again, the reason I think this is relevant is, or the distinction between Mortal Kombat and NetherRealm Studios is relevant because they put one guy in charge of NetherRealm and DC. They're saying Mortal Kombat just because that's how people identify NetherRealm Studios, because the Injustice franchise is not nearly as big as the Mortal Kombat franchise. So now that we know that Sean Himrick is the dude in charge, it seems a lot more likely, and this is totally speculation on my part based off this information, it seems a lot more likely that we will be getting Injustice 3 next, because That is just the way, that seems to be the way the cards are falling for this one. But continuing on with this, we now have, he's also in charge of Sean Himrick. He's also focusing on developing and overseeing new projects, is also part of his job description. And then as far as the rest of the Warner Brothers Games stuff is concerned, we have Yves Lachance, who is from WB Montreal. Her title will be very similar. She will just be over Harry Potter and Game of Thrones. And then we have Stephen Flannery, who is from WB Games New York. He is now Senior Vice President of Central Tech and Services. So it seems like he's kind of the guy over the other two, and the other two have very specific things that they're in charge of. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully, this works out in the favor, because these are all fantastic franchises, or intellectual properties even, so why not try and get somebody who knows how to work them and do good things with them and knows what the audience hopefully wants. So yeah, that's just where I'm at with that. That is what we have for follow-up. So let's talk about some trailers that dropped that weren't part of, not directly part of the Konami Press Play event, because I think Hades might have been in there. I'm just misremembering things. Whatever. Hades 2 just dropped a trailer. Still technically in beta, but this new trailer is called The Unseen Update. It is free and automatic for everybody who is in the beta right now. It focuses mostly on new combat development, so super intriguing. It looks like it's going to be a blast. I still haven't played the first one, so, poo on me, but our other one is a mobile game that is Marvel Mystic Mayhem. It will be out June 25th. Go watch the trailer. It's intriguing. It is an RPG. It's a Marvel RPG, but the artwork feels very Japanese, kind of a la Tokon, or however the hell you say that, the fighting game that we got at Summer Games Fest. Yeah, super interesting. Let me know what you think after you watch trailers. Let's move on. We have some regular ass news here. And yeah, this is Xbox, the future of Xbox gaming. We now know for sure that Xbox is working on at least one more home console, because they just signed a new proper deal with AMD. AMD is going to be producing the chips that are going to run this new home console. It seems that some of this announcement was delayed until now because they were waiting on new advancements in AI, presumably. Because if you watch the trailer for this, it's very short, it's about a minute and a half. If you watch the announcement, whatever the hell, and they show you the actual chip that goes onto the board that they're working on, one of the markers on this chip is AI. So very much going to be leaning into the AI stuff in the future. So for those of you who are incredibly anti-AI, good luck. There's no avoiding it. And honestly, it is, as much as I, as an artist, want to support artists, I think this is just a new tool that is going to be mandatory for artists moving forward. Like, I don't know that we will get to a point where a majority of things are created by AI. That's just kind of unavoidable at this point. At that point, though, it's not going to be that human-made things are going to disappear. Human-made things are going to become bespoke, meaning they're going to be very expensive and very well crafted, whereas AI stuff is going to presumably be probably still fairly well crafted, but inexpensive because it can just be kind of plopped out on demand. Whereas bespoke things that were made by human hands or designed or whatever are going to take a lot longer and going to have a different feel. I think that is just going to be the nature of art and the arts going forward, is bespoke art, be it game development, which is an art, or food or whatever, is going to be the preference of people who have the money, who can partake, I guess is the way to put that. So yeah, that is where we're at with regular ass news. Xbox is moving forward with AMD. We're going to leave that one there until we get a little bit more. Let's talk about our suggestion for the week. Just for the week, Splitgate 2, just kind of into regular gameplay. We're into season 1, and I gotta keep suggesting it because it's so much fun. It's either that or Mortal Kombat because those are the things I'm legitimately playing. That's all I have time for. It's all my brain wants to scratch those 2 itches and those 2 itches only. So yeah, Splitgate 2. Come find me. I don't remember what my tag is for the crossplay stuff, but whatever. It's fun. Go play. Enjoy. It's free. Thank you very much, nerds, for tuning in. If you want to level up your nerdy, geeky, pop culture knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe and do all of the things. Go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy, for the larger portion. Again, you get all of the sections into one convenient video over on Generally Nerdy. The name of the show is The Week in Nerddom. Thank you for checking out this clip. We will see you next time. Before we go, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, probably here.